Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be taking a look through that short-lived series from 1938, the Penguin Illustrated Classics. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so I've got two sets of classics to actually go through. I have my original set, and fairly recently I did buy, towards the tail end of last year, I did buy a sort of classics collection, and I didn't realise it at the time, but it actually came with another set of the Penguin Illustrated Classics, which was a series that I had licked a few years ago, but neither of them have been cleaned, and I thought, well, we'll give them a clean, and I'll have a little chat and we'll have a look through the series, but we'll also I'll be able to choose the best looking copies for the ones to sort of keep myself, really. So yeah, May 1938, and there's only 10 of them. That's when these were published. They only ever had the one printing, and for some reason, by far, number one, which is this one, Pride and Prejudice, is by far the most trickiest one to get your hands on. And I don't know why that is. It just is. Now, they all came in dust wrappers. Neither of mine have got a dust wrapper. So there you go. Make of that what you will. Now, the series apparently came about almost as a way to highlight the wood engravings, which was like a process that I think Penguin and Alan Lane in particular were very keen to bring to the public. So there's a chap called Robert Gibbings, who himself was a book illustrator, but he also edited this entire series of 10. And it's worth pointing out that these were the very first classics that Penguin ever produced, ever made. The actual regular classics came later in the 1940s, so these were the actual original ones. And I mean, it's a shame they only did 10, really. But as I said, this is the toughest one of all to find. So this one's got a little tear in the back there. I mean, none of them are mega money or anything like that. So look at the little penguin logo there. Even that's a little bit odd looking, isn't it? This one's got wood engravings by Helen Binion, it says on the front there. There we are, 1938. So that's that copy, and I suspect this was my original one that I've had for a few years. I remember my wife actually found me this one. It was the last one I needed to get, and yeah, I think by far that's the better copy. So what we'll do as we do each number, we'll brush. Look at the dust coming off the top of these. We'll get them a good brush, and then I'll have the edition that I'm going to keep and the one that I'll basically have a spare set, which I'll move on to another collector. It's quite a nice way to get these in a full set, in actual fact. They do take a bit of time to track down, although they're not particularly expensive, except this number one here. Whether that's because it's Austen, the title possibly, very, very loved title. But yeah, which one is best? I think it's going to have to be, although that one's got sort of whiter pages, this one's got a darker spine, but it's not got the tear in, so that's going to be the one to keep, and that's going to be the spare. Now, number two was Lawrence Sterne, A Sentimental Journey, and this copy is also not in a dust wrapper. Wood engravings, Gwen Ravarat. It's at Nina Lamb, 1938. And they are nice books, aren't they? That's a pretty nice, I mean, there's no dust wrapper over it. It's a pretty nice tight copy of that one. This one, once again, not in a wrapper. I'm pretty sure they did come with wrappers, all of these. It was a time when Penguin were wrappering all their books, simple as that. This has also got a little bit of tape down the bottom here. Thankfully that's just unpeeled itself very nicely. Yeah, so that's a bit of a hard one. Which is the better looking copy? I think the one, once again, I think it was my original one, but there's not a lot between those two. Right, number 3 then, Tales of Mystery and Imagination by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, this is my original one. You see it's got that big scratch sort of on it. That was made by a cat, if you can believe it. So we were cat sitting, and the cat, for some reason, put a claw down on top of the bookcase and scratched it, and he scratched a couple other books as well, but this is the only one I've got left from that particular incident. So you can see it's literally made a hole in the dust wrapper, but underneath, thankfully, it looks absolutely fine. Yeah, look at that. That's quite nice, isn't it, that? Wood engravings, Douglas Percy Bliss. So that is lovely underneath the wrapper. This is my second copy. This one isn't in a wrapper, which is a shame, because I would have loved to have upgraded that dust wrapper. Put a little 10p in the front here, so we'll get that out. It's also got some tape on, so let's hope that this also comes off. Yeah, it's a vintage repair. It leaves a little residue mark, but nothing we can really do about that. Yeah, well, let's give these two a brush. Actually, I don't think we brushed number 2, did we? So we better do them as well. We'll do them as we go along. Thankfully, it won't take long, because there's only, well, 20 books. So it's a quickie, but it's also a nice opportunity to have a look at these. So that is by far the nice copy. And even though my dust wrapper is got that tear in it, I'd rather... I'd rather have the copy with the wrapper. What I'm going to do, though, I'm going to leave this dust wrapper off. I've actually got a little shoebox which is full of dust wrappers which aren't quite good enough to leave on the book. It actually spoils the book by having the dust wrapper on. So I'm going to put it in my my box of dust wrappers and just keep it in there, I think. And I'm pretty sure I've got a dust wrapper for number 1 in that very same box as well. Loads of dust coming off these. I suppose when you consider their age, we shouldn't really be surprised, should we? There we are. So that was the number 2 I was going to not keep. That's the one I am going to keep. And then there's number 3, and that's the better number 3. So number 4, Walden. Wood engravings, Ethelbert White. Okay. Once again, not in a wrapper, this one. It's not stacked with illustrations, is it? But it's quite nice. The penguin's sort of walking away there. Possibly unique to this edition, in actual fact. Okay, now this one's much more worn. It's got 2 bits of tape on it. So evidently this one's been a little bit through the wars. Thankfully the tape is just crumbling in my hands, which is great news. So it was probably a historical repair of some sort. Yeah, this has actually got, look, it's got the remnants of the wrapper there. You do sometimes find a dust wrapper flap tucked in occasionally. Little 5p. But yeah, that's certainly the more inferior copy. Let's give these both a brush again. You can see the dust coming off these, it's incredible. I do recommend doing this for your old books. Just get yourself a shoe brush or something and give them a dust off. It makes a huge difference. It's amazing what can accumulate over the decades, you know, dust-wise, particularly these pre-war ones, because at this point, of course, lots of people had open fires, coal fires in their front rooms, so the soot would land, and it would make the spines go a little bit darker as well, you know, so there we are. But that's the one I'm gonna keep in the main collection. And then to get the halfway point, we've got selected poems here. Number 5. Now these both appear to be in dust wrapper, so we'll take the dust wrappers off initially, because we'll assess those in a minute, but we'll do the actual books first. So Robert Browning's Selected Poems with wood engravings by Ian McNabb. So the dust wrapper's really done its job. It's really protected this and got it, you know, quite nice. When you consider these are over 80 years old now, and is that, yeah, that's actually misprinted. So we need to leave that flap in there like that. Once again, this poetry book came out before the Penguin Poetry series had launched by about a year or so. Very, very nice. Again, the frontispiece is one of the most impressive bits of these series, isn't it? I really like that. So that is pretty nice, that one. So let's have a look at this copy. This one isn't misprinted. In fact, there's not a mark on it. So I'll have to go with that one, as opposed to that one. With regards to the wrappers, well, that one's shown a little bit of loss at top and bottom of spine. Whereas this one, much, much less loss. So that's the one I'm going to keep with the book. This is going to be the spare. But once again, I do need to give these a quick brush. So we'll do that first of all. And then we are halfway. Always the top edge that requires the most work. There we are. Right, so book number 6 is Robinson Crusoe Part 1, and they released this one in 2 volumes. This was my original copy. Wood engravings by J.R. Biggs. Michael Howell in Cambridge. Very nice. The Life and Strange Surprising Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. So that's not bad at all. This one, sadly, it's got some tape on. There's a few of these seem to have, sadly. It's got a bit of spine lean. And basically, it's ever so slightly a lesser grade than the one that I've got. It says Volume 1 only, 5p, woodcuts. I wonder when this was picked up, probably in the 1970s. Because this particular collection came from a chap called Alan Swell, and he was a huge Penguin collector and picked up a lot of books in the 1970s and early 80s. When they were much more common, of course, you know. I do like the story of Robinson Crusoe. It's one of the classics I enjoy. I wouldn't say I'm well read in the classics by any means, but the ones I've read, I've really, really enjoyed. I can certainly see their attraction. So, this was my original. I think that's the one I am going to keep. And that's the one I'm going to pop in my spare pile. And then we got, well, surprise, surprise, Robinson Crusoe Volume 2. So they did the full story. Same woodcut illustrator. That's the same owner. Evidently came from the same place. And this is my secondary copy. There's a little concertina of pages that have been turned over the wrong way there, which is just not cricket. Let's pop them back. There we are. Okay, so it does appear as if the set that I had on the whole are going to be the ones that I'm going to end up keeping, because my set was pretty nice, except number 1, which is a little bit aware, but as I said, it's a very, very difficult one to find. I don't know why. Hardly ever turns up. The only time you really see it is in sets, is when someone's selling a set of these, you know. There we are. So I think this has got to be the one to keep. It's a bit whiter and brighter, but that's number 7. Now number 8 is Herman Melville's Typee. Now I've never read this one. I have read Melville's Moby Dick, which was phenomenal, but I guess if they'd have published Moby Dick, it would have had to have been in 3 volumes, in all honesty. So well, there you go. I do like Robert Gibbings. He's a great illustrator. He did a very, very nice Penguin special called Blue Angels and Whales, which he also illustrated with woodcuts, and I really recommend tracking that one down. It's just a beautiful Penguin book. It's from this period. It got published as a special, but it looks like a pelican. It's like a blue pelican special. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, now this one, I don't think there's masses between the two, to be honest. But yeah, what a shame they never did Moby Dick, but it would have had to have been 3 volumes to get it all out. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough call, that one. There's not masses between the two. I said Robert Gibbings oversaw this series. He edited this series of 10 because he was a master of the woodcut. That was his thing. It's a very, very nice series to put together, and the fact there's only 10 of them makes it quite obtainable. So I'm thinking this one's a little bit brighter, this one's a little bit more washed out, but there's not really a lot between them. Number 9 then, The Story of My Heart. Richard Jefferies. Illustrated, wood engravings rather, by Gertrude Hermes. And once again, both of them in wrappers. How weird. Yeah, I'm sure they were all issued with wrappers at some point. We'll put the 2 wrappers over there. Look at the books to begin with. So the fact that they were in wrappers has meant that they've been protected quite nicely from the dust and the elements. Let's get a little unique play on the Penguin device. I said these are all published at the same time. Look how dark that is. That looks like it's been on a shelf which has had a coal fire near it, and loads of soot on it. I think this was my original one. Yep, no marks on that. So we just give these edges a brush. See if we can lighten that top one there. I don't think we can make it any worse, can we? There we are. It's a little bit better. I mean, to be honest, you could spend quite a bit of time on that to get that looking really, really nice. But it's a lot better than what it was. However, that's the one I'm going to keep, and that's the one to put in the spares box. Now, with regards to the wrapper, that's got somewhere on there. This one's actually got some tape, which would be nice to get off if possible. Oh, that might leave a mark. It might take a little bit of it off. Yeah, but even so, that's what it was on there to begin with. There's some tape here as well. Don't know if that's actually going to come off very easily. No, unlike the other tape, that's not going to come off. But it is an original wrapper, but it's a bit more. It's the lesser of the two. So we'll pop this one back on the spare copy of this book, and I'll put the better wrapper on the one I'm going to keep in my own collection, which is this one. And then we've just got one more to go. Now, there wasn't a double of number 10. I thought I had a whole spare set, but it's actually just 1 to 9. But I do have a copy of number 10, which is this. Gulliver's Travels, an absolute classic. Jonathan Swift. There we are. Very nice. In 4 parts, there we are. It's got a bit of writing inside, but we're not going to worry about that. Illustrations or wood engravings by Theodore Naish. So just the one. No choice on that one. Right, let's just go back and have one last look over these rather nice books. So I thought it was worth having one more final look over these, just in order, because I think they are a really nice set. And you see the odd one around here or there, but you don't often see them in quantity. And I've been meaning to give my copies a clean for ages, and when I ended up getting these doubles, I thought a perfect opportunity to go through them and give them a bit of a tidy up. But yeah, a very short-lived, just 10-book series, and not too difficult to track down, except number 1, which is the slightly tougher one, but they do turn up. And there we are, Gulliver's Travels. So if you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.